Okay. Welcome to the G. Louise book series. I'm Christina, Kristina. This is where we read books and talk about books. No special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy smashy stuff going on here. And a couple weeks ago, I got a whole bunch of boxes. And except for the fact that they were labeled fiction, that's all I knew. So I asked people to how they wanted me to unbox it, and I got thumbs down. I didn't get any feedback. I just got thumbs down. It made me really upset. Um, if you can't be nice, please don't say anything at all. It hurts my feelings. So if you could please stick with me. This is the box of I Haven't Got a Clue. There are some mainstream fiction, I think. There's a romance or two. There's some nonfiction, or, well, not nonfiction, but contemporary or mainstream fiction, maybe. There's a few teens in here, but it's a really eclectic box, and it's the I Haven't Got a Clue box. So if you can bear with me, um, a lot of these authors I have heard of, and a lot of these authors come in to the shop, people asking for these authors. So the first one was really popular, Ellen Hildebrand, The Matchmaker. 48-year-old Nantucket Dabney Kimball Beach has always had a gift for matchmaking. Some call her ability mystical, while others, like her husband, celebrated economist John Boxmiller Beach and her daughter Agnes, who is clearly engaged to the wrong man, call it meddlesome. But there is no arguing with her results, with the 42 happy couples to her credit, and all of them still together. Dabney has never been wrong about romance. Never, that is, except for the case of herself and Clandon Hughes, the green-eyed boy who took her heart with him long ago, when he left the island to pursue his dream of becoming a journalist. Now, after spending 27 years on the other side of the world, Clen is back on Nantucket, and Dabney has never felt so confused, so alive. Ah. LaVyre Spencer, Separate Beds. Readers have long flocked to the works of LaVyre Spencer, one of America's most cherished storytellers. From The Fulfillment to The Morning Glory to The Then Came Heaven, her touching, emotionally charged novels have examined love in all its forms. In Separate Beds, two attractive, headstrong people meet and fireworks ensue. Catherine Anderson and Clay Foster come from two entirely different worlds. One blind date leaves them forever linked. Clay, a handsome law student, and Catherine, a serious, bookish undergrad. Experience in the evening they will never forget, fortified by the beauty of the night as well as a bottle of wine. They shared a night together. A few short months later, Catherine discovers she's with child. Oops. Aaron Kingsbury. When we were young, what if you could see into the future and know what will happen tomorrow? If you really walk out that door today, pay attention. Life is not a dress rehearsal. From their first meeting to their stunning engagement and lavish wedding to their happily ever after, no one and Emily Carter were meant to be together. Theirs is a special kind of love, and they want the world to know it. More than 1 million adoring fans have followed their lives on Instagram since the day Noah publicly proposed to Emily. But behind the carefully staged photos and encouraging posts, their life is anything but a fairy tale, and Noah's obsession with social media has ruined everything. All right, now Barbara Kingsolver. Prodigal Summer. Prodigal Summer weaves together three stories of human love with a larger tapestry of lives inhabiting the forested mountains and struggling farms of southern Appalachia as the heart of the intertwined narrative in a den of coyotes that have recently migrated into their region. Dana Wolf, a reclusive wildlife biologist, watches the forest from her outpost in an isolated mountain cabin where she is caught off guard by Eddie Bondo, a young hunter who comes to invade her most private spaces and confound her self-assured solitary life. On a farm several miles down the mountain, another web of lives unfolds as Luza Malfa Ludansko, a bookish city girl turned farmer's wife, finds herself unexpectedly marooned in a strange place where she must declare or lose her attachment to the land. A few more miles down the road, a pair of elderly feuding neighbors tend their respective farms and wrangle about God, pesticides, and complexities of the world neither of them expected. Some nice pictures in here. Anne Patchett, Commonwealth. Sunday afternoon in Southern California, Burke Cousins shows up at Fanny Keating's christening party uninvited. Before evening falls, he has kissed Fanny's mother, Beverly, thus setting in motion the dissolution of their marriages and the joining of two families. Spanning 5 decades, Commonwealth explores how this chance encounter reverberates through the lives of the 4 parents and 6 children involved. Spending summers together in Virginia, the Keating and cousin children forge a lasting bond based on a shared disillusionment with their parents and the strange and genuine affection that grows among them. When in her 20s, Franny begins an affair with the legendary author Leon Posen and tells him about her family. The story of her siblings is no longer hers to control. Barbara Taylor Bradford, The Raven-Scarred Dynasty. A bitterly cold day in 1904, the Deveraux family future changes forever when Cecily Deveraux tells her 18-year-old son, Edward, of the death of his father, brother, uncle, and cousin in a fire. A part of him dies as well. Edward and his cousin Neville Watkins are suspicious of their deaths. They vow to seek the truth, avenge the wrongdoings, and retake control of their family's business empire. No cover, no jacket, but it's the Jude Deveraux Mulberry Tree, and there's no jacket to read from, so I can't tell you what it is about. He needed me. Whenever anyone, usually a reporter, asked me how I coped with a man like Jimmy, I smiled and said nothing. I'd learned that whatever I said would be misquoted, so I simply kept quiet. Once I made the mistake of telling the truth to a female reporter. She looked so young and so in need of herself that for a moment I let my guard down and said he needed me. The, that kind of mother. Ruman Alm. It's 1985, and like many first-time mothers, Rebecca Stone finds herself equally overwhelmed and overjoyed by her newborn son. Her husband is willing to abdicate child-rearing to her as he focuses on his career as a diplomat, so Rebecca is left on her own to juggle the demands of motherhood with her aspirations to be a poet. She aims to follow the example of Princess Diana, a personal idol, the living embodiment of grace and good humor. But it's not the princess who changes Rebecca's life, it's Priscilla Johnson, who comes to work as the family nanny. Priscilla brings order to the household, even as her presence shakes up Rebecca's perception of the world. As a race once again becomes a flashpoint in American society, so too it became deeply a personal matter inside Rebecca's cloistered and comfortable life, an opportunity to confront, for the first time, the blind spots in her own privilege. The Children Act. Ian McEwan. Fiona May is leading high court judge who presides over cases in the family court. She is renowned for her fierce intelligence, exactitude, and sensitivity, but her professional success belies private sorrow and domestic strife. There is a lingering regret of childlessness, and now her marriage of 30 years is in crisis. Transcendent Kingdom, Yada Cheeseman. GYASI, sorry. Um, Jiffy is a 60-year PhD candidate in neuroscience at Stanford University School of Medicine, studying rewarding-seeking behavior in mice and the neural circuits of depression and addiction. Her brother Nana was a gifted high school athlete who died of overdose after an ankle injury left him addicted to Oxycontin. Her suicidal mother is living in her bed. Jiffy is determined to discover the scientific basis for the suffering she sees all around her. Interesting. Book of the Month Club. Ah, such good work. Johannes Lichtman. Jonas Anderson wants a fresh start. He's made plenty of bad decisions in his life, and at age 28, he's been fired from yet another teaching position after assigning work like visit a stranger's funeral and write about it. But he's sure to move to Sweden, the country of his mother's birth, will be just the thing to kickstart a new and improved and nearly sober Jonas. When he arrives in Malmö in 2015, the city is struggling with the influx of tens of thousands of Middle Eastern refugees. Driven by an existential need to do good, Jonas begins volunteering in the Red Cross. Swedish. Uh, Miss Julia stands her ground. Anne B. Ross. Miss Julia, that beloved steel magnolia of a certain age, is looking forward to peace, to many peaceful and happy years with her husband Sam, but she still has plenty to worry about. When Hazel Marie's troublemaking uncle, brother Vernon Puckett, comes back to town, he claims to have conclusive evidence that little Lloyd is not the son of Miss Julia's philandering late husband. Wesley Lloyd Springer, a fact to which Miss Julia would have gladly subscribed a few years back. But then, that was then, before Miss Julia's life involved little Lloyd, before the magical holiday when he became the apple of her eye. Nicholas G. Kirstoff and Sherilyn Woodun, half the sky, turning oppression into opportunity for women worldwide. From the first married couple to win a Pulitzer Prize for journalism, here is a passionate call to arms against the oppression of women around the globe. The center morale challenge of our time. Though inspiring stories of extraordinary woman Christopher and Woodun show that the most effective way to fight global poverty is to unleash the potential of women. Jan KARON. Shepherds abiding. Since he was a boy growing up in Mississippi, Father Tim has lived what he calls the life of mine. Except for cooking, gardening, and washing his dog, he has never learned to savor the work of his hands. And then he finds a derelict nativity scene, including a flock of sheep, that has suffered the indignities of time and neglect. Can he give the small assembly new life, restore the camel's ear, repaint every piece, replace an angel's missing wing? You can't teach an old dog new tricks, he reminds himself. Besides, it's his wife who's the artist in the family. Then he imagines the excitement in Cynthia's eyes and steps up to the plate, beginning a small journey of faith that touches everyone around him. LaVere Spencer, November of the Heart. From the enchanted pen of Liverle Spencer comes a luminous and evocative tale about a man and a woman born in radically different stations in life who challenged the unwritten rules of Victorian society. In just a few short years, LaVyre Spencer has emerged as a super-telling storyteller in a hot... Where does it say what the story is? Set at the turn of the century, November of the Heart tells of Lorna Barrett, a young woman from wealthy St. Paul family, and Jens Harkin, the ambitious dreamer who works in the kitchen of a family summer estate. Lorna's father, Gideon, an avid sailor, is determined to claim victory for his own White Bear Yacht Club in the next summer regatta. Having recently suffered defeat at the hands of the rival club, Gideon is willing to do almost anything to get the prize he wants. Nicholas Sparks at first sight. There are a few things that Jeremy Marsh was sure he'd never do. He'd never leave New York City, never give his heart away after barely surviving one failed marriage, and never become a parent. Now Jeremy is living in the tiny town of Boone Creek, North Carolina, engaged to Lexi Darnell, the love of his life, and anticipating the start of their family. But just as life seems to be settling in blissful pattern, a mysterious and disturbing email sets off a chain of events that would change the course of this young couple's marriage. Oops. Oops. Give me your hand. You don't have a self until you have a secret. Megan Abbott. Kit Owens harbored only modest ambitions for herself when the mysterious Diane Fleming appeared in her high school chemistry class. But Diane's academic brilliance lit a fire in Kit, and the two developed an unlikely friendship until Diane shared a secret that changed everything between them. More than a secret, decade later, Kit thinks she's put Diane behind her forever, and she's begun to fulfill the scientific dreams Diane awakened in her. But the past comes roaring back when she discovers that Diane is her competition for a position both women covet, taking a part in the groundbreaking new research led by their idol. Soon enough, the two former friends find themselves locked in a dangerous game of cat and mouse that threatens to destroy them both. Do that. Mitch album Tuesdays with Maury for one more day. As a child, Charlie Benito is told by his father, you can be a mama's boy or you can be a daddy's boy, but you can't be both. So he chooses his father and worships him right up until the day the man disappears. As an 11-year-old, Charlie must then turn to his mother, who bravely raises his on her own, despite Charlie's embarrassment and yearnings for a complete family. Decades later, Charlie is a broken man. His life has been crumbling by alcohol and regret. He loses his job. He leaves his family. He hits bottom after discovering his only daughter has shut him out of her wedding. And then he decides to take his own life. He makes a midnight ride to a small hometown with plans to do himself in, but upon failing even to do that, he staggers back to his old house, only to make an astounding discovery. His mother, who died 8 years earlier, is still living there and welcomes him home as if nothing ever happened. Interesting. Saving Megan, DJ Palmer. Some would say Becky Gerard is a devoted mother and would do anything for her only child. Others, including her husband Carl, claim she's obsessed with her daughter and fixated on finding a cure for the girl's mysterious health problems. 15-year-old Megan has been in and out of hospitals with a plague of unexplained illnesses. But when the ailments take a sharp turn, clashing medical opinions begin to rise about the puzzling nature of Megan's illness. Doctors suspect Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a rare behavioral disorder where the primary caretaker seeks medical help for their child's health problems, conditions the adult actually has made up or has caused. Okay. Extraordinary, Nancy Werlin. Phoebe finds herself drawn to Mary, the strange and secretive new girl at school. Soon the two become as close as sisters until Mary's majestic older brother Ryland appears. Ryland has an immediate exciting hold on Phoebe, but a dangerous hold, for she begins to question her feelings about her best friend and worse about herself. Jimmy Bluefeather, Kim HEACOX. Old Kelb Wisting is somewhere around 95 years old. He lost count a while ago and in constant pain and thinks he wants to die. He also thinks he thinks too much. when his when his grandson James, a promising basketball player, ruins his leg in a logging accident and tells his grandpa that he has nothing to live for, old Keb comes alive and finishes his last canoe with the help from his grandson, together with a few friends and a crazy, likable dog named Steve. They embark on a great canoe journey to the Tingit's ancestral home, now part of a National Marine Reserve. Uh, Elaine Kaufman, Someone Like You. The Inch at Sea. For Susanna Dow, a life of self-imposed spinsterhood and hard work in the parched plains of West Texas cannot erase the pain of shameful past. Then she meets Reed Garrett, a man with secret burden. Tentatively, two lost souls dare to reach out, first offering nothing more than simple human kindness, only to discover a reason to live and a reason to love. Now, I think the rest of these are young adult ish. Emphasis on ish. All right, well, maybe not this one. Small Wonder, Barbara Kingsolver. In her new essay collection, the beloved author of High Tide in Tuscan brings to us one of history's darkest moments, an extended love song to the world we have. From its opening parable gleaned from recent news about a lost child saved in an astonishing way, the book moves on to consider a world of surprising and hopeful prospects, ranging from an inventive conservation sheep in a remote jungle to the backyard flock of chickens tended by the author's small daughter. The False Prince, Jennifer A. Nielsen. In a faraway land, civil war is brewing. To unify his kingdom's divided people, a nobleman named Connor devises a cunning plan to find an impersonator of the king's long-lost son and install him on the throne. Four orphans are forced to compete for the role, including a defiant and clever boy named Sage. Sage knows that the Connor's motives are more than questionable, yet his life balances on a sword's point. He must be chosen to play the prince, or he will certainly be killed. His rivals will be devising their own plots as well, so Sage must trust no one and keep his thoughts hidden. As Sage moves from a rundown orphanage to Connor's sumptuous place, layer upon layer of deceit unfolds until finally the truth is revealed. Let's Get Lost, Ida Asia. 4 teens across the country have only one thing in common, a girl named Leah. She crashes into their lives in an absurdly red car at the moment they need someone the most. There's Hudson, a small-town mechanic who is willing to throw away his dreams for true love. Bree, a runaway who seizes every Tuesday and a few stolen goods along the way. Elliot believes in happy endings until his own life goes off script. And Sonia worries that when she lost her boyfriend, she also lost the ability to love. Uh, Joyce Carol Oates, Zombies. Um, Meet Quentin P. He has a problem. His professor father and his loving mother, though of course they do not believe the charge of sexual molestation of a minor that got him into a bit of trouble. He is a challenge for his court-appointed psychiatrist, who nonetheless is encouraged by the increasing affirmative quality of his dreams and his openness. He is a thoroughly sweet young man for his wealthy grandmother, who gives him more than more and can deny him less and less. He is the most believable and thoroughly terrifying sexual psychopath and killer ever brought to life in fiction. You're kidding, Joyce Carol Oates? Ew, Joyce. Really? You write better stuff than that. I'm sorry, I read that. I'm sorry. Sweet Bitter, Stephanie Danler. There are worlds that induce us to test the 22-year-old narrative of Sweet Bitter, and you will never again read a debut coming-of-age novel as stunning as this one. Shot from mundane principle past test continues to work in the stifling summer of 2006. Alone, knowing no one living in a rented room in Williamsburg, she manages to land a job as a backwaiter at a celebrated downtown Manhattan restaurant. This begins the year we spend with Tess as she starts to navigate the chaotic, enchanting, punishing, and privileged life she has chosen. Powerful, Lauren Roberts. Adina and Pazina have always been inseparable. Fate brought them together when they were young, but friendship endured. They would always protect each other and the home they built in the slums of Loot Alley. But now Payton and Ordinary has been selected for the purging trials, which also means certain death. Aww. Out of My Heart, Sharon M. Draper. Melody is the huge heroine of Out of My Mind, is a year older and a year braver, and now with her Medi talker, she feels nothing out of her reach, not even summer camp. There have to be camps too for kids like her, and going to sleuth one out. A place where she can trek through a forest, fly on a zip line, and ride a horse. A place where she can make her own decision to do the things for herself and maybe finally make a true friend. And the last book is The End of Magic, an Echo Park Coven novel, Amber Benson. Lise McAllister used to, like everyone else, blissfully ignorant of magic, of the dire battles being fought and the showdowns and secrecy. But that was before her great-aunt Eleanor died, leaving her in control of Echo Park Coven. Before she found herself in the middle of the witches' clash with the anti-magic zealots known as the Flood. Before her sisters lost their faith in her. Okay. That's the end of this box. It's empty now. If you could please hit the like and subscribe, let me know I'm doing a good job, and look forward to next week's box of I don't know what yet. And don't forget If Then's on Fridays, and I did some new releases for January 2025, so check those out if you're looking for something to read that's brand new. And also Flashback Mondays, where we talk about all the books in Romantic Times Book Review magazine. Talk about mysteries, romances, regencies, sci-fi, contemporary romance, suspense, mystery, harlequins, paranormal, and some erotica sometimes. And we've got some new harlequins coming up too. So if you please hit the like and subscribe, let me know I'm doing a good job. I'd really, really appreciate it. Thank you.